Here we are. Welcome to another episode of Hawk versus Wolf.
Welcome. We're on a roll.
We are. I mean, I know you're saying it like sarcastic a little bit.
No, I'm not.
We kind of are.
No, we are. We're on a roll. We got a rhythm. We're going. It was a rocky start because we were trying to rush out the Lizzie episode.
Right.
But now we're in a groove. And here's what's crazy. I don't know if they're allowed to talk about it. There's a guy.
Nice.
I shot a thing for Jackass 4.
I love it when there's a guy.
I shot a thing
for
Jackass 4.
Could have been a girl. Could be an alien or a Sasquatch for all we know.
Shot a thing for Jackass 4.
Right.
Someone there got very injured. And
nice.
he actually said, "Hey man, I'd love to do your podcast." I was like, maybe that's our podcast. The only guests we have traumatic injuries.
Oh, great.
Is that it? Is that what we do?
No, I'm going to be a guest soon.
Oh yeah, you're doing the thing next week. Oh, this is what are we all these things? I don't know what we can talk about. I don't know what the rules are.
It doesn't matter. It's by the time this comes out, I might not be alive. You're right. I'll probably make it. I feel good about it. It's not as big as what I wanted it to be, so it's kind of like I mean, for me, I could be wrong. My son is actually worried about it. I didn't know that this was even possible, so I took him to the mall the other day. He wanted to skate with his friends. He's super into skating again.
Really?
Not me. He's in videos of slamming by himself in the out front of his mum's house.
Wow.
And then running to go. He's like, look at this pop shove that I'm working on, and like just whip out like go, and then sprints over, picks his board up, and I'm like, yes, that's what it is.
I know that. Yeah, I know that vibe.
If you lie there for too long, it might not be your sport, but you did not hesitate.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about that. And so he's skating with his friends, and I'm talking about, I actually got a stunt I'm doing, and they might build a landing ramp, or they might make me just jump out into the sand with this resi mat. And he goes, how high is it? And I was like, I don't know, car's probably going to do like 50 foot high or something, but I'm landing on the top, so I'm not falling 50 feet. And he stops talking, and I'm driving, and so I'm trying to look, and I'm like, are you all right, dude? And he's like, yeah, I don't want you to do it. And I was like, dude, I'm like, I know it sounds sketchy, and some people, when they hear me talk about it, it is sketchy, but it just so happens that I'm really good at jumping side-by-sides, and this is a side-by-side. And it also just so happens that I'm really good at landing on a skateboard going straight fast. You're never going to shake that from me. I'm always going to be good at that. And this is the two combined. I was like, anybody else, I'd be scared for them, but not for me, dude. Like, I'll jump this car over and over again and land perfect. And then I'm like, okay, now I can get on the side and jump off, and I'll knee slide on the thing. If you saw it, you'd be like, oh, he's nowhere near in trouble.
Did that ease his fears?
Yeah.
I never thought about like all the sort of reckless stuff I did.
I was going to say
was when my kids were really young. So I don't remember having that conversation with them really.
Because Riley was on tour when he was really young, and you were.
He was.
I mean,
yeah,
you did the Hut Jam, right?
Yeah, and he grew up seeing a sort of different version of what is normal. So.
What do you mean normal for a parent?
Of course. Yeah, I mean, like he would be on tour, and we're doing the loop every night, and it's just like, no, that's just how it goes. It wasn't like some big setup where I'm going to do this big jump. The only time that I really did something like that was when I jumped between two buildings downtown LA.
That was LA. Was it raining?
Yes.
Yes, I saw that.
It was raining.
Sketchy as fuck.
Yeah, it was sketchy. And
was he worried that day?
I didn't tell him about that one that day.
Oh, because you knew that it might worry him.
Yeah, I think I think I was just so stuck in my mode then.
Yeah.
Where I lacked the empathy or the compassion to think about how that was going to affect everyone else around me.
I know, right?
I mean, I would definitely, at this moment, if I were to choose something like that, I'd be like, okay, look, I know I'm totally confident with this. I've jumped this forever. Nothing, and there were issues there where it was just like, what if your wheel falls off? It's like, come on.
Yeah.
But
I'll check him before I go.
Yeah. But I was more like, that never happens.
Dude, because if you're going to do stuff like that and you have their mind in it,
yeah. I mean, maybe it required that in a sense, but I look back on it, I go, that was pretty reckless to do that.
Okay. I mean, a little, yes. If you're going to go full normal,
but also look at it this way. So that gap, I mean, I'm going into the details of it, but that gap, I think was like 16 or 18 feet.
Yeah.
The whole mega ramp thing didn't exist yet.
Right.
Right. So that in itself seemed crazy.
Right.
That I'm jumping that far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where
you hadn't jumped that far.
Well, no one really had.
Okay.
You know, Andy hadn't done his thing yet.
Okay.
Like it was all experimental.
You still felt pretty good about it.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. I put it up in a parking lot 2 days before.
Okay.
Same distance, jumped it over and over and over.
Okay.
No worries.
Okay.
But it was, you know, it wasn't that it was just established thing. Nowadays, 18 feet, someone could probably push and ollie that, right?
A couple of people. Probably not a good idea.
Yeah,
but yeah,
not
you're
a great
right.
idea, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying. So anyway, you know, when you look back on it, it's just like, oh, well, it wasn't that bad. But it did seem at the time like, why are you doing? And when I look at it now, I'm like, wait, why did I do that?
It's weird because when I saw you do that, I didn't think for a second, why did you do that? I was like, cool. Like it did. If anyone asked,
Oh, for sure. To this day, like I think it's cool that I had the opportunity. I think it's crazy that they would just allow that. The building was like, sure.
Yeah, if Tony falls down the hole, is that bad for everybody involved?
Yeah, exactly, right.
It's pretty bad, right?
Yeah.
Like all their companies are gone, right?
The sketchiest part about that whole day was, yes, it was raining most of the day. So the time we were supposed to do it got pushed back, obviously. We're waiting for a break in the weather. And I'm just sitting idle all day. Just like, okay, I guess this is going to happen. I hope it's going to happen. Maybe it's not going to happen. I don't know. And the ramps are like kind of tarped, but they weren't fully covered. So they are getting wet. And then we get a break in the weather. And it was, you know, you could see that the clouds were still surrounding LA, but it was like, this is our time. This is our window. Let's go. So they start feverishly mopping up the ramps, blowing them with the air. You know, when it's desperate, like when you get the jet air dryers out, that's when things are getting
sketchy
desperate
to me. Because the wood, if it soaks the water,
it'll come through the seams.
Yep.
Yeah. So they're blowing dry. This is what happened though. This is the sketchy part. I get up on the roll-in, and there's a ladder that's going across the gap that they've used to, I think, originally set up cameras.
Oh, okay.
This thing is sketchy.
Wait, somebody walked out on it?
They would like climb out on it to set up stuff.
Yeah.
So they're, you know, dangling with their feet. That was the sketchiest part.
Yeah.
And they go, hey, we should probably get rid of the ladder for the shot. So I'm up there, you know, I'm going to go. And then, yeah, let's take apart the ladder. Like, it's going to rain.
Wait, so that would take some time, right?
Yes.
So, and you're up on the roll.
I'm up on the roll and I'm ready to go.
And they're like, no,
and they're like,
wait half an hour.
Yeah. Wait, let's get rid of this thing.
You're
All
not coming down.
Let's lose the ladder. Let's go. And I'm just like,
you stay up there.
No, I ended up coming down because I just wanted to get my legs warm again.
Yeah.
And watch them as they're like picking this thing up. It was like a torturous movie scene because they're pulling it apart as each thing comes off. I'm watching the weather like close in on us. And then there's so many funny elements to it. But you remember there was I don't want to say his name, but there was a very famous skate photographer.
I love it. I love the no naming here. This is so much fun.
No, he wouldn't care. He knows what happened. So Daniel Sturt.
Oh,
super,
wow. Yeah.
Right.
You got to watch it if you're going to talk shit on him. He could show up to your house
unannounced.
camo.
Yeah. But he knows. Like he and I have been. We've already had closure on this whole thing.
Oh wow! Oh my god! This is so not. People that don't know this guy gets everything. He's like,
right,
was godlike at taking photos, and you're about
this
to
is
tell
not
me a
where I
story
thought
where he
this
didn't
conversation
get
would
it.
go,
This
but-
is crazy.
Okay, so
I love this guy, by the way.
His photography in the late 80s, early 90s
Is godlike.
was unparalleled. Yeah, it was insane, right? So he's the one who shot original Loop.
First
The
guy.
Airwalk ad, yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
So I asked him to come shoot it. And apparently he decided to go down on the street because he wanted to get the whole, the whole thing. And then all the chaos is happening. They're taking apart the ladder. There's no communication with him. He's rogue. He just does what he does, right? And so finally they get this thing up. And they're like, all right, we're going. Here we go. I go up the thing. I'm just like, all right, and all I want to do is catch my board.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not
You
even,
got it in your hand. You got to make it.
I'm not, it's not that I'm going to fall down the thing. It's that I got to make it on my board.
Right.
And I pump probably more than I would have any other time. And then I got my board and I overshoot the landing, but I landed like halfway down it.
Yeah.
So still good to go.
Okay.
I land and I was like, yes, I did it.
Oh,
Sick.
I know exactly what's about to happen.
So they start interviewing me. This is all so, it was so synchronized almost, right? Then Daniel Sturt comes up the ladder, comes up the elevator of the landing building. They're two separate buildings.
Yeah.
I think we had to negotiate with both owners.
Fair.
Right. So two separate buildings. He comes up the elevator. There's just it's like a terrible movie. There's one elevator thing that comes up, right? The doors open. I just got interviewed. I'm walking out and he's like, comes up to like face to face. I'm walking in the elevator to go home.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
He looks at me and goes, "You can do it again?"
Yeah.
I said, "What?" He goes, "I missed it." And I go, yeah, right. Yeah. He's like, no, I missed it. I didn't know you were going. I was like, oh man. And then my mind like, I wonder if I could do it again. Right at that moment, it starts pouring.
So that's it.
And then he looks at me, he turns around, gets in the elevator and goes home. And then I'm left standing with my pads on, elevator closed, pouring rain, like, I guess he didn't get it. Like, I guess that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's no photo.
We got it for MTV.
I know, but you didn't get a photo of it?
Well, so the guy
I feel like I saw a photo.
The guy that built the ramps leaned over the side and shot a photo, and his photo was good enough.
And that's the photo.
That's the photo, yeah.
Wow.
And then this story continues on. So I wanted the photo to use for, I think it was for audio at the time.
Okay, yeah.
Something.
For an ad, that's what I saw it in.
For an ad or poster, yeah. And he tried to hold the photo kind of hostage because he's like, "This is a cover. I'm gonna get this on the cover of Transworld."
But he didn't take it.
He did. The guy who took it.
Oh,
I'm not talking about Daniel Sturt. I'm talking about just the dude
was holding it.
Yeah, the dude who helped build the ramp started thought he had, this golden ticket, and he said,
"Idiot."
And the guys at Transworld are like, "It's a good skate thing. It's not a sick photo.
Yeah,
it's not what we'd run on the cover."
Yeah,
and then we had to negotiate with him of how he would let us use the photo for audio and use it for either an ad or a poster or something. It was insane. Like it was
holy shit.
We did.
Man, people now I kind of get a little bit more of like how you've got to be around people because it seems like my little experience where someone befriends you because you have something you could give them, it's not as much for me. Like it's not as clear for people to be like, wow, this guy could, because just that he could make me like the aura of you can make people think like I now have a this photo. I am now about to be famous for photography because I got this great photo of the great Tony Hawk jumping this gap that no one's ever like just ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Moron, just flying off the rails. I'm no longer even on the planet. If he had a wife, she's
only because the professional photographer missed a shot.
Yeah. But it just the and to be, because I feel like someone's like, yeah, man, if I love your work or blah, 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 it'd be great. And then they dive in to the point where, do you ever have a friendship with someone that doesn't go, man, totally, but you know what? Like even today, dude, I said I went and bought some Vans. You're like, dude, you don't need to do that. And I was like, you think I don't know that I could call somebody to get some free Vans? Like I know I could probably call fucking Steve Van Dorn. Like
True.
I went to the Ramp one time with my family and he took us on a tour and told my kids about what a great skateboarder I haven't seen this dude in 20 years.
That's awesome.
And gave us bags of Vans and was like, Jace, help yourself to the Ramp. And I was like, I can't believe Steve even knows my name. I can't believe he remembers me, let alone tales. Like at one point, he's like, your father in Europe. And I was like, oh God, whatever you're about to do, don't do it.
Nothing good happened in Europe.
Yeah, I was like, I was not in Europe. he's like, great escape. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, great skateboarding. Yeah, whew. Hey everybody, Jason Ellis and Tony Hawk for Hawk versus Wolf. You might have heard of us
work great, depending on who you ask. Squarespace. Do you want a website? Do you want to make cool stuff? I almost cussed.
Stuff.
Cool stuff.
Do you design and sell cool stuff?
Ooh, we are on the cutting edge, you guys. No, but if you want to be domains, the name, want to design a website from scratch, all the things that you would want to use if you want to sell products, gift cards, digital products, subscription product sales, analysis, analyze yourself. Get them to help you analyze your website and have the sickest website ever, where you sell the sickest merch and then you make the sickest cash, and then you're driving around, or you're out, you rent a jet and you model in front of it with like sweatpants with your cool logo on it, and then you made it thanks to these guys.
That's it.
Yes. So and we'll hook you up with a 10% discount. Yeah, it's super easy. All you got to do is go to squarespace.com/hawkwolf, and then you get a free trial when you're ready to launch your sick site, and then use the offer promo code HawkWolf. Hey, they left an F out, but there's no way it's Hawkwool. It's got to be HawkWolf to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks, Squarespace.
No, I do the same thing. I don't like to call in favors that are of that nature also, because I feel like then there's a sense of IOU.
Right, which is way bigger on you, because you could a lot of people think you could just make and break their lives. Like you could just it's
not that. It's just more that okay, for instance, I got wheels from my wife, like Bones wheels. And I know if obviously I can call Bones, try to get wheels and whatever, but there's this whole process to go through. Right. And I know that that's not their priority, or that they're going to get those kind of wheels from me. Like they don't have them set aside. Right. They got all my signature wheels for days, right? I can get boxes of them, but I'm looking for these very specific wheels, very specific size and formula. And I just bought them on Amazon.
Right.
Like,
see, to me,
that's good enough. I get paid from Bones. I'm happy to, put back some of the money into their product.
That's how I felt. When my son first started skateboarding, I was like, "You're serious?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, let's go to the skate park and get a board," because he didn't want. I'm like, "You need a smaller board. My boards are not right." And he picked your son's board.
Oh wow!
And to me, I was like, I didn't read it because I'm dyslexic. I just went, awesome. He's going to ride a Tony Hawk board because Riley had your graphic.
Oh, okay.
It was that board, and I was like, "Oh, sweet." He picked the Birdman's board, and I'm like, "I have no problem buying this board." And I'll tell you, I heard the 9 Club playing in the background. I'm like, these guys have no idea who I am. They're listening to this religiously. This is their Joe Rogan. I'm like, not one of you motherfuckers going to recognize me. Nah. I'm like, I'll take that Tony Hawk board over there. What about now? No. I'm like, I get some bearings too and some grip tape. And I'm like, this is it. You've been eradicated. You no longer exist. But I remember thinking, I could call you. I'm like, I'm not calling you for a fucking Tony Hawk skateboard. Like, you got shit to do. And just same as the Vans, man. I could call.
Well, the irony is that we're right here at my office. Getting one of my boards for you is me walking into the next room and grabbing one for you.
We weren't doing the show then.
Okay.
It would have been, hey, can you mail me, like, get my address?
Yeah, it's a little bit more of a hassle.
Yeah, dude. Like, I can't do that to people. And I also, from what skateboarding has given me, have no problem giving skateboarding money. Like giving a diving company or, like buying a surfboard. If I can do that, I can sure as hell buy a pair of Vans, because
I got to know, though, when you said, I'll take that Tony Hawk board, they're like, you mean the Riley Hawk board?
No, I just said that one. I didn't, because until I got it home and helped set it up, I was like, wait. Oh, you idiot. Like, it clearly says Riley, dude. I just didn't catch the difference.
Wow. I wonder how many people do that. I wonder if anyone looks at that board, because it was the one with the sunglasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for sure they would.
Yeah.
Because if you're from my
That's pretty
era,
sick, right?
And you see that graphic, you're like, oh, man, Birdman still got the old graphic.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I'll take that one.
Yeah.
Like I was stoked that he picked it because if it was the right size, I would have picked that.
That's pretty cool.
And I was like, wait, it's Riley's? I'm like, you know what? That's just as cool. It doesn't matter. It's going to the same house. I'm okay with it.
So you're doing your stunt.
Oh yeah. So yeah, this stunt is just gonna happen out of nowhere. Look, at one
Are
point,
you gonna bring your kids to it?
No way. No. It's a weekday. But I wouldn't stress. My daughter would not care to go.
Okay.
Maybe my daughter would care to go if I was jumping Bobby Schmurder.
I see.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's where I'm at right now with her.
Okay.
But because Bobby Schmurder is not going to be there at all, she doesn't want to go there. Tiger would go, but I just know him. He would be super worried until it was over. And if I can see him worrying, now I'm worrying.
Right.
Like when he got worried, I was like, wait, is this a really dangerous stunt? And then as I was reassuring him, kind of reminds me of the first time I had my first fight. My ex-wife was super worried because the guy, when we had the meeting the day before, was talking about how he's had 4 years and blah, 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 blah. And he kind of stood over me and tried to intimidate me. And I'm not one of those people that tries to like intimidate. I think it's stupid. Like I'm not trying to look scary. Tomorrow we're going to fight. That's when I'm going to look scary. That's my plan. I'm going to save it for then.
Yep.
So this guy's at one point he stands over the table over me and does that whole thing. And now she's crying on the way back to the hotel room. She's like, I don't want you to do this. And I was like, hey, you know me. Like even if I lose, do you think I'll be hurt? Like I don't die. Like sometimes I get really hurt, but I'm one of the best getting hurt people I know. Like I walk off with broken shit and laugh at it. So this guy is not going to do any of that. I'm way tougher than that. And while I'm saying it, it's working. I'm convincing myself. And I felt like that was the same with Tiger. I was like, do you know how many times I've jumped side by side? I'm the second person to ever jump the mega ramp. Like, and I'm here.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a good argument, Jason. You're gonna be fine. Because I feel like the podcast, this show, all the things that I'm doing, you know, I got a fight coming up in October. So I'm trying to remember all the things to do right and not make mistakes. And then, I'm gonna jump off this car onto a skateboard on a Thursday. So it's just floating in there. Whenever I have a window to not do the rest of it, I go back over to, all right, stepping off a car and rolling. I'm like, you know what? This whole skateboarding every Thursday or Friday thing,
it's going to benefit you.
So, because I'm like, dude, if you can do a slob air on a vert ramp,
sure,
you can land and
a jump ramp.
Yeah.
Yes.
If it's really banky, like, you know, do it right. All I got to do is like, will my feet be on the skateboard when it lands on the ground? 100,000% they'll be on. Yeah. Which way are you going? That way. You know what I mean? I'll get it.
So let me get straight. You are driving the car and then jumping out? You're not driving the car.
Yeah, on the passenger seat.
You're in the passenger seat and then you're jumping out.
Because it's stock, I would have preferred to have like a ledge for me to hang off. So the video is going to be...
You're regular footed.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to Indy
air that's off. Tricky. All right, whatever.
You know what it is? It's jumping for your life and putting a skateboard under your feet.
Sure.
That was one of my things. I just know that if it's in my hand, I can put it down there.
Yeah. Actually, I think I'd prefer to be regular footed in the passenger seat.
Because this is going to be for people that don't skateboard. This is going to make no sense to you at all. So just bear with us. Would you in the air off it? Wait, you're goofy.
I'm goofy.
So you would lean air off it.
You're saying if I was in the passenger seat?
Yeah, you're going to jump off the passenger seat of the car.
Actually, that makes me, I would probably, you're going to hate this, but I'd probably just nose grab it.
No, that's what I bomb drop. That's my biggest cheat.
Yeah.
If you Indy, you're going higher. You have to take off higher.
Well, and you got to get your legs around your arm. There's a lot of adjustments that have to happen before you get on the ground. And I know how to keep my back foot on if I go off the nose. A lot of people don't like grabbing the nose because they can't keep your back foot on.
Yeah.
Right?
See, I'd prefer to be on the other side for this. I'd prefer to jump like you're going to jump.
I would prefer to be on the driver's side for sure.
Yeah.
Because then I could go into like a Weddle grab. Weddle is my tightest, keep my feet on the board grab.
I got to program the Weddle in there.
Yes. You're still stuck on
But at least I know what you're saying now.
Okay.
We
had this discussion offline about the new name.
Yeah. A mute was invented by a guy who was deaf, not a mute.
Right. And the name was just bestowed onto him.
Right.
He didn't name it.
Right.
And then we all ran with it for
Yeah.
40 years or
Yeah, it's
something
like-
until I finally asked him about it one day because I was curious and he's like, yeah, I found out about it because it was printed in a magazine.
Nothing to do with him, even
Yeah.
though he invented it.
Well, it was
Dave
to do with
did
him.
an Andrecht. He gets to call it an Andrecht.
No, but it was to do with him.
But he didn't name it.
He
They
didn't
just-
name it.
They named it for him.
Yeah, someone just said it flippantly, like
When you
with
are
no
the
regard.
person who is the inventor of a 180 in skateboarding, there's only 2 hands, man. You can only go front side and back side. That's 2 ways you can turn. So we don't have that many tricks, and he got one of them. You name it.
right. Yeah,
Like lean airs.
yeah.
That's kneel backwards. He did a lean air. That's what I am told. Steve Caballero. There's Caballeros now where I call bullshit on your Caballero.
What
But
does
he's
that
the
mean?
first person to go back. Well, I don't know. People cab into stuff all the time. I'm like, gay twisting, dude. I mean, sorry. See, I can't do it. Dang. It's so many things I've got to learn.
The Olympics are coming up. Better get your names
Oh, yeah,
right.
they're not gonna- They haven't called me to do any
That's
announcing.
weird.
Can you believe
That's
that?
so weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to learn that. The mute air was always harder for me because I got too big, I think. Like my legs are kind of, I'm too jacked for
I'm too
Weddles.
jacked.
I'm too jacked.
Too jacked to Weddle.
Ooh, it's a sick t-shirt.
Yeah.
Too jacked for
Too
Weddles.
jacked for Weddles.
He would understand that.
Hashtag.
That's why my slub airs are between the legs. I'm too jacked.
I love how we wax philosophical about certain life things, and then we just go straight into, I gotta grab stink bug on my slobs because I hope our audience appreciates that.
Yeah, probably not. But
Probably,
you
probably not.
could Google it. You know,
could,
Google
yeah.
probably has the correct
Yeah.
answer to that. Weddle might be you might be ahead of Google on the Weddle. Like if you Google what is a,
I've heard people say it in other sports now too. In snowboarding, I heard it. Yeah, I heard it on a snowboard event actually.
okay,
I want to say at X Games.
I'm super behind that. Tells me if snowboarders are saying it, then you need to get with the times.
Right.
Okay,
Stink
Weddle.
bug Weddle.
Weddle. I might try and Weddle just for the sake of it now, so I can shout out the Weddle on the stunt.
The funny thing is that when
Wow.
what was it? When I finally got a hold of him and I got to tell him that we changed the name for the video game. I mean, whatever. It's like I'm not making some great proclamation that we have hereby as a skateboard industry changed the name. All I was doing was changing the name on the video game.
Right.
So it's no longer a mute grab, it's a Weddle grab in THPS. That's it. That's my contribution to it.
Yeah.
But I got to tell him, and I got an ASL interpreter to join me on a Zoom call
Yeah.
to explain it to him.
Yeah.
And he was super stoked.
Man.
He was super thankful. And then the funny thing is, I said, if you have any photos of you doing it, you're old or recent, please send them along.
Yeah.
And he sent me one of him going frontside,
A frontside Weddle.
which is a slob
Which is a
air.
slob air.
Yeah. So I was like,
Did you have to tell him that?
I just go, do you have any other
Going
shots?
backside?
And so he had one kind of going over a hip, going backside.
Okay.
Because in his eyes, that's the grab. Doesn't matter which way you turn.
I appreciate it, but you need to back off just a little bit, Weddle.
No. It's,
Did he
he's
do
just so far removed.
Did he do slob airs first?
He didn't. No, he didn't backside.
Who did slob air? Because who named it?
I don't know.
Dang
It's
it.
got to be Whittier
for
crew,
sure
though.
you
It's
had
got to
the
be like
answer.
Neil Blender, Lance Mountain, Jeff Grosso. Like that's
Do you know who invented the Indy Air?
Dwayne Peters.
And he named it the Indy Air because
Yeah.
of the trucks?
Yes.
Okay.
So here's a fun fact.
Yeah.
The reason that this grab became known as the mute air originally
Yeah.
is because somebody else did that grab after the Indy Air, and they said this is like crazy skate trivia. After Dwayne Peters invents the Indy Air, he names it after Indy trucks, right? Indy Air, boom, that's happening. And then someone said, well, we need a tracker air because tracker was the rival to independent in the early 80s.
Yeah.
And then someone did what is that grab, is the mute grab. And they said, that's a tracker air.
Mm.
And someone else said, you can't name that a tracker air because that mute guy does those.
Gotcha.
It's a mute air.
It is. He did it first.
But he wasn't mute. He was deaf. That's where the
Right.
whole thing broke down.
Right. So they were almost completely right. It was like, hey, no tracker air. This Weddle guy made it.
Yes.
And you should have said,
And then,
it's a Weddle air, not.
yeah,
I heard he's deaf. It's a mute air.
in our idiocy of the 80s, you know, with whatever, like
it still
not
blows my mind.
understanding anything.
But you know the guy that made it, he's right there. You can't fucking ask him.
Right, no.
Like I know that he's deaf, but don't tell me.
I mean, I wasn't there for that conversation. I just know that's what happened.
I know, but it can trace back to, we know for sure that Weddle guy did it, but for some weird reason I know he can't talk, but it's crazy. It just blows my mind that somebody on behalf of him could have said, hey.
It's just so disrespectful. It's so careless.
Right.
He's mute. It's a mute air.
Yeah, no, he's not. That's
Yeah. So anyway, we fixed it on the game. That's all. That's all.
And look, it's a success. If snowboarders are now calling it that, it's a success.
I suppose so. Yeah. Hey, I saw a guy do a full proper McTwist on a surfboard the other day. Just scrolling through stuff.
What between the leg? Sorry, this is a hardcore skate podcast.
I don't know if it was.
Because I don't know how you can do a tuckney. How the hell can you do that?
It was proper. I'll show it to you.
How do they do that?
I don't know. It was awesome. It was crazy.
I still can't catch a wave. How's that going? Are you surfing still?
Yeah.
You went to that man-made thing again, didn't you?
I've been to Waco and I've been to Kelly's Wave. And they're totally different experiences, but both are super fun.
If you can't surf real good, is that a good place to learn how to catch
Either
waves?
one has a beginner wave.
Wait, they have a wave that's harder to get?
Well, what
if I don't care? Like if it's bigger and there's no reef, what, can I just ride that too?
Yeah, but you can. They have basically what they call like a longboard beach break setting.
Oh, okay.
So you
work your way up, and then if you want to get a small board and go over to the steeper wave, they can. That's there.
They just flip a switch.
Oh, it's the same wave.
Same wave, yeah.
So it just comes out way bigger when they want it to.
Yes.
And you would never ride a real big wave with a longboard?
No.
Okay.
I mean, not. There's like a discrepancy. It's like if the wave is, it's like an 8 to 10 foot face, a longboard is gonna be a problem because you're gonna hit the nose on when you come down.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're talking about a 30-foot face, you need a longer board to keep the stability.
What's the biggest wave they have at these wave parks?
It's overhead.
So like a 6-foot wave?
Sure, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I would really want to do that. I only got to surf one big wave on a shortboard one time. If
I luck into a session there again, I'll invite you.
Yeah, there you go, Trey. There's my.
But it's maddening. I mean, if you want to know what it's like there, so Kelly's wave is that's the elite wave. That's like
why is it elite?
Because it's so high tech.
It's perfect.
It's perfect. Yeah, every time. There's a barrel every single time.
Fuck.
But the thing is, it only comes every 4 minutes or so.
What?
And because it's this big pool and the whole thing has to calm down, they got to put there's this thing that they move through the water on one side of a fence, and that's what creates the wave.
Yeah.
So that thing has to reset. The water has to calm down, and so when the wave comes and it's your turn, you better not mess it up.
Oh wow!
So it's a
that's
lot
kind
of
of
pressure.
like every wave I've ever caught, though.
Right, but you're in position. This is your wave. If you blow it,
you have to go back of the line.
Back of the line,
and that's like half an hour away because every ride's 5 minutes.
Absolutely, yes.
Ah.
And by the end of the day, if you've blown 4 or 5 waves, you probably didn't surf much, if at all.
That once again doesn't sound much different than my surfing day.
Yeah. But it's just that you hear this clicking, and that means the motors are coming, and your heart's just like, oh man, here it comes.
Wow.
And then you see it coming, but it jacks up very quickly. So you got to be already in motion by the time.
So you're paddling and you don't
there.
even see the wave yet.
You see it,
but not like you would normally see
not like you normally see it. No.
And then how long is the ride when you?
If you catch the wave from where it starts to the end, it's 50 seconds.
Oh shit!
It's full on.
So you get tired.
You get tired, yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
See, that sounds like the coolest thing ever to me. Whenever it works out where the wave goes and things clear out of the way and I get to be on it, because it's very rare that happens. Usually like I'm in the white water or I'm barely on or somebody else is telling me to get off.
Before COVID, you could do side steps off of the jet ski too. So the guy in the jet ski would just get you right in the position. You just jump off.
What?
And you're on the wave. Yeah, it's like you have your own concierge.
See, I wouldn't want to do that because then I'd be like, I have learned absolutely
no.
zero about
Trust
surfing.
me, when you're there, and that's your opportunity to be in the wave, and if you might have missed a couple, you take it.
Because he guarantees you get in
Guarantee you're in it.
there. Right.
Yeah. But the other funny element to that whole situation is when the wave is coming, everyone else that's in the water is lined up down the fence so that if someone bails, they can paddle in.
Oh, okay.
So in the context of having camaraderie and everyone's like, yeah, woo, we're out here. You're secretly hoping your homie falls so that you can poach his wave.
See, that reminds me of skateboarding in the 80s. I don't know.
Oh, because you're hoping they fall on the other side of the ramp so you could drop in. Oh my God, that's such a funny, like, specific thing that only a handful of people really know about.
Yeah, like I really, that part of skateboarding, I really missed. Like that was to me, that was one of the most fun things ever.
What we're talking about is you would get into a snake session on a vert ramp where there's at least 10 people on each side of the ramp
at least
trying to go, and you're watching someone skate and you're hoping that they fall just outside of your drop-in zone.
Yeah.
Because then they're blocking other people.
And you've got to predict it too. So you've got to be already in before
and you're
they
watching
fall.
and you know which tricks they're probably going to fall on.
Everybody does. So when it's somebody's real hard trick, everyone puts
their tail out. Oh my, I forgot all about that.
Because that is such a crazy thing to think about now. Like when I skate your ramp, I'm like, and you're like, you want to go yet? And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
you go.
Yes.
I'm gonna wait. When it used to be, I had my hand on my nose, and I used to do ones where I pretend I'm not gonna go, and I just stand there, and then I would jump, and it was like a sweeper thing. So I'm like already in. There'd be many times in my life I've dropped in, and that guy made it, and I've just got out on the other side, and I was like,
because it's the trick you think he's gonna fall on.
And if he makes it, I'm already in the air, so I'm going across.
I can't remember the last time I even acknowledge that or discuss that.
Yeah, because I don't think you were always above it. If you
I was in that for sure. I'm just saying, like, I've had this ramp.
Do you remember anybody specifically that you snaked?
Well, it was a free for all. You're just snaking, right?
Yeah, but
I think that so.
Oh, I do remember you doing it. Okay,
but also you think that there's a moment you kind of wait. Where you know that you've already gone, so maybe you let 7 or 8 people go, and then you think, okay, maybe I can get back in there again.
Yeah.
But there were other skaters that did not care.
Yeah, Remy Stratton.
Chrome Domes.
Yeah. I became friends with Remy Stratton from a snake session where he was dropping in this was an L-shaped half pipe, and he dropped in from the corner. So when he dropped in, he crossed the entire ramp in one wall, which meant he's going to kill you and himself.
Yeah.
So people started to get the memo that when he's dropping in, unless you want to fucking die, you should probably let him go.
Yeah.
And I was like, not even happening to me at all. I'm from Melbourne where we do this all day. Dude. Like
you're in.
I've done front setters where people are doing back setters towards me, and I've just gone, fuck off, and put them to the flat. Like, I've done it to 12-year-olds. I don't care who you are. You come near me, I will push you off. I'm big. Like, that's the one thing. I'm like, you're gonna move me? Nuh-uh. So, wait, where was I?
That Remy's coming after you.
Oh, yeah. So Remy at this vision ramp, I think it was the vision ramp at the time. So he grinds, and I drop in, like, I see him coming. I'm like, fuck off. And I drop in and do a grind across the other side. And as I'm grinding, because I've played this game so much, I'm looking over to the other wall at him to see which way he's going. And he's in a grind looking at me on the other side. And I was like, yeah, like we're both assholes. Like this is the highest level of snake. Like I'm in a grind going that way. And I was like,
snaking at the highest level.
And I was like,
you have met your match.
Yeah. I was like, and he also was like, I respect your snake. And I was like, I respect yours. And then he and I became
pretty amazing.
Buddies from that day.
So Remy and Omar to an extent and a bunch of other crew, they all painted
was the worst.
They all painted their helmets silver and they called themselves the Chrome Domes.
Yes.
And if the Chrome Domes came to your ramp,
fuck shit up.
You're not getting any runs in.
Yeah, they fuck shit up. Those guys were tough.
They're just snaking everyone.
If you're an alcoholic, they'll befriend you though. So I was okay. After the ramp, they're like, I like this guy. He drinks until he falls asleep with a beer in his hand. I'm like, you can count on me. I'm like an idiot. Those guys always had my back. It's crazy because I always thought they were cool too. There was a couple of dudes there where one real weightlifting guy.
They were. I don't think
road bikes.
I thought of Remy as more as like, I didn't think of him as tough. I just thought of him as bold. But there were some other guys there that were like, I don't want to mess with that dude.
Yeah, there was one guy that was super jacked, and I was like, man, this guy is sketchy. This is younger when I was like, man, that guy seems fucking dangerous. I remember, oh man, who's the couple that ran skateboarding, the Novaks? No, is it? Who's the husband and wife that ran skateboard contests for the longest time?
The Hoffmans.
Was it nah? This is like the blonde-headed girl.
Sonia Hoffman. Oh, Catalano? I don't know.
And the Indian guy was the husband.
The Bostics.
Yeah, the Bostics. Okay, so those guys are running the contest.
He's not Indian. Can we
what is he?
Describe that? I don't know.
Whatever.
Donna Danielle Bostic.
Anyway,
we're still in the mix.
Are they really?
I think so. Yeah.
Fuck, they're legendary. They were at a.
They took over. Don Bostic took over the National Skateboard Association from my dad.
Oh.
And then it became World Cup.
Oh. Well, anyway, these guys are to be respected. We all know in skateboarding the reason this contest is organized is because of them two. So when they tell you to get off the ramp, your heat's over, you get off.
Right.
And I remember Don saying, hey, it's you got to get off. And Remy was like, fuck off. Fuck you. Fuck you. And I'm like, we're going to be in the bar in like half an hour together. Can you just tell Don to fuck off and go? And I was like, man, because he wanted some more practice. It was more of a, I'm known for that, so I have to uphold that. And I think it just sort of escalated because it was our heyday and Chrome Dome and it was like, man, you already had more practice than anybody in the whole heat, and now you're in the next heat practice.
There was always I got the.
He's still gonna fall off in your contest, right? You know that? He was the most inconsistent guy ever in a contest.
I had the opposite end of that in that when I was competing and my dad was helping organize things, everyone said I got more practice. That was just it. I would show up to these scheduled practice sessions. You know what I mean? I was following all the rules, all the conduct, but didn't matter because those guys slept in, they missed theirs, they couldn't get into a later practice session.
Right.
And then they'd be like, oh, someone got more practice. I'm like, yeah, because I showed up to my session.
Yeah, I wasn't wasted last night. I'm actually here to compete. No, it was an odd thing. The practice thing never. I love snaking. I thought it was great. I thought Lance was really good at it.
Oh my God. Lance would drop in after you're established in the ramp.
My favorite.
You've already hit a wall, and Lance is like, I'm going.
My favorite thing he would do is hold a grind and stay up there just long enough underneath you where you had to bail. Like I was like, this is not accidental. This is perfect timing. It's like you're going high, and he's like, okay, so you're going high. So that's supposed to intimidate me. That was come over, and when you go high, he goes, yeah, and you're like, ah, and you bail because you think you're gonna land on him. He goes, yeah, fuck you. He used to do that all. You did
such a whittier thing.
A rock to fakie. That's how I'm remembering your vibe. This guy, because he's better than everybody, he got truck jam rock to fakie. Once again, we're doing skateboard tricks where a lot of people do this when they go backwards. They go, dit, dit, dit. That's how everybody does it. Tony goes, whoo, because he can do backwards better than everybody else. So he goes and stays there. And I've done an air before, like, doof, and I'm looking over and I'm like,
oh yeah, because I just wait for someone to bail. Yeah, that's right. I did do that.
He's sitting in a rock to fakie.
Guilty as charged.
One, it's him. And two, it's him. But it's like, wait, you're stalling me out.
I barely remember all this.
Me neither. But I remember it being such an excellent, like anybody else. If you went high next to me, I'm like, oh, it's on. You know what I mean? We're both gonna go next to each other. And if I go big air and I look over and Tony's just standing in a rock to fakie, like, I'm like, man, I know what you're doing. Like. You're not even gonna play with me, and I'm gonna fall off.
I wasn't playing. It was just my way of waiting it out. Like, is he gonna fall? He
it
fell.
Nullified the game though. Like he was like, I'm just gonna do this until you fall. And I'm like, fuck.
I remember there was one contest. The snake session was so bad. It was probably Tampa because Tampa was like the most chaotic. And I think it was who would be on the mic? Schaefer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And Schaefer said, all right, these snake sessions are too crazy. whoever the best trick on the first wall is the one who gets the ramp. Like if a bunch of people drop in, whoever does the best trick that next wall gets to go. So I the whole practice session drop into McTwist.
Oh, you bastard.
That's all I did.
You bastard. I just realized that's such bullshit.
It totally
shuts
works.
down everybody, and he's the only person that can do it. That's awesome.
But the funny thing is I'm working out a line.
But it's such an easy trick for you to make first wall. Anybody else that had a trick that was really good to get the ride would be tapped out after they made it. Like I can tell you're McTwist. You're like, McTwist, now let me do my ride.
It was weird though, because that became the setup. That was like my first wall. Okay, that's what I'm setting up. This is the
You
run.
made that in your actual contest?
No, I didn't do it in the contest.
okay.
I'm just saying like it was a weird way to get into the mix and into the mode, but whatever. Desperate times.
Yeah. Yeah, those are I always thought that was to me some of the most fun I've ever had. And as long as it was
I love that that's what you remember is just the chaos of snake sessions.
Because it was so much fun.
It was fun.
Everybody wanted to skateboard so badly.
Yeah.
We all look like skate junkies. Like,
right.
Like
Yeah.
if I just had a ride. I'm
Oh,
sweating.
and all the noses are sticking out over the coping.
Yeah, well, none of us are talking to each other.
And
Like,
also no one's giving leeway for people who are coming to grind.
I will move my board out of the way at the millionth of a second as your board goes by.
Right.
I don't know how many times in my life I've gone, oh shit, sorry, man, and just completely fuck somebody's ride up because I was trying to cut in on them.
It's funny when you talk about that chaos. It reminded me that I did that Toyota Grand Prix. You know, the one in Long Beach?
Yeah, I always wanted
like
to do
the
that.
celebrity thing.
Yes.
And up to that point, everything that we were doing was more just us on our own, practicing, warming up, whatever, doing laps, getting lap times and things. And every once in a while, you go with a few other people, but there was always people like someone was way better and they'd go ahead. And I remember there was one moment that was the most fun for me was they let all the celebrities go and they have the pro drivers that start, I don't know, 30 seconds behind or a minute behind or something. And then at some point, everyone catches up.
Right.
And everyone caught up right at the fountain where it's like a tight corner. It's already like a hard turn to make.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing all the cars coming up behind me. I'm already in the pack and everyone is in this corner and I'm this close to both cars on both sides.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And I made it out ahead. I got on the straightaway and this dude ran me into the wall. And that was the end of the race.
I hate to say it, but that sounds like racing.
Oh, sure.
Like
but the
you're
thing
like,
is,
this is the most bang.
I don't remember the starting. I don't remember the turn, in the tight turns or anything. I just remember that one moment was
the mayhem of it.
Was the mayhem and the fun. And then it was over 20 seconds later.
But if you hadn't have got bumped off and you were doing more laps, that could have been one of the most thrilling days of your life, right?
It could have been, but I don't think I was going to really move mountains. I wasn't.
Do you think that if you were quicker, that it'd be more fun to you? Do you think the one thing that wasn't that much fun is that you might not have been that quick? Like you think if you were hanging with the pack for the whole race, that would have been
a little more fun. Right. Yeah.
Because I felt like that when I first started actually racing. I was better than everybody at the go-kart track in skateboarding, so I must be good.
What's funny is I did that.
It wasn't true.
I did that race, and it was either a year or two after Danny had done it anyway.
Yeah.
And Danny crashed on this one turn and he was out. But everyone associated with the race in the pro driving field was like, Danny Way was the best celebrity driver we ever had here.
Yeah. Yeah, because he drove.
Right.
I mean,
but something happened where there was a big pile up and he didn't see it when he made a turn and he was out.
It's not. It's like people think that they can naturally drive and they can naturally fight because it's your hands. I've driven to work or I've like, how hard can it be? My hand hits your face. But if you practice like skateboarding, how hard can it be to skateboard? Well, you'd be surprised if you don't do it a lot. It actually comes across pretty hard, and people, mainly men, find it hard to comprehend that fighting and driving a car could be any better than I already am. Like how much better could you get?
Yep.
It's just this. But when you do it for a living against people that have got like buggy tattoos, and you're like, I've done a turn where I'm like, everything I've got in this turn. And I'm like, and
I killed it. It was the best line anyone has ever taken.
Someone probably is going to tell me to slow down because I'm going to fucking kill myself.
Right.
And I'm like, wah, and somebody goes, wah, around the outside. And I'm like,
yeah, that was my experience for sure.
How's that?
Exactly that. Where I was like, oh, this is the best. I took the best line coming through that fountain, and I took the best line on this one. And then it was like, how the hell did that guy even find room to pass me?
Yeah, I put in years and years of, at least 2 years of getting out of the car and trying to act like I'm not bummed out because I'm already very fortunate to be a race car driver. And and there's a lot of people here that are not as fortunate as I. And if I get out of the car and go, fuck, 8th, are you serious? Like, what the fuck am I doing here? People are going to go, wow, dude, you how fortunate you are. You're going to bitch about it.
Yeah.
So like many times I went to the RV like, yep, no, good. Then go to the RV and tell my wife how I fucking hate this game.
The other part of that was the only time I've totaled a car. And
not me.
And then just walked away from the car.
Yeah. No, because they're good, right? They can take it.
Yeah. But I mean, just walked away from it like full, action movie. Just like hold my helmet, like, all right.
Yeah.
Death and destruction behind me.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that happened to me a bunch of times too. It's like one time sounds pretty cool, but a couple of times.
Yeah. Well, I think what I liked that I wasn't accountable for it.
Yeah. I would have, in my experience, I'd rather be accountable for it because people in racing like you more if you're accountable for it. If you can walk away, it's like this guy doesn't even like put a wrench to and I'm like, man, they called me. Like if they had called you, you would have gone like, I don't know how to use the wrenching thing. I'm sorry. I want a wrench with you. Sometimes I would hang out with him afterwards and be like, hey, let me get that wrench. You want me to put some things on here? And he's like, you could try and put it on there. And I'm like this? And then, no, exactly. And I'm like, what about like this? And then every now and then I'd like change a wheel and they'd be like, there you go. And I'm like, there I go. And then sure enough, like the wheel that I changed would come off.
They weren't even bothering to ask us if we wanted to do stuff like that. And it was very much like when we were all training, it was, who was it? Christian Slater, Keanu Reeves.
So cool.
Adrian Brody. It was awesome. Like, yeah, it was awesome. Actually, Keanu Reeves started in the pro.
Makes sense.
He was killing it.
Because he did the course. If you do the course and you're somewhat athletic, you will be quick. And that's the other thing. You can be quick and then you start getting into hundreds of seconds. It's like now you're as quick as the fast guy, but then when you follow the fast guy, you realize that every now and then you make a mistake and he doesn't. And he just like little bit by little bit, he gets away.
Yeah, hey, it was fun.
I've had some of the most fun I've ever had in my life in racing cars. Like some of the moments where I was laughing and screaming at the same time. I've had really dramatic, like bummed out things. I've had people thought I was going to die. I got a flat tire in a race and the guy in the headset goes, just stay out there because you want to stay in the points, finish the race, you get points. So I'm like, okay, I'll stay out there. Just stay wide on the turns. I'm like,
oh, driving with a flat.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were stop with the flat.
No, I was going to pull off and he's like, don't pull off. Finish the race with one flat tire. Just stay out of the way of all the quick people. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll stay out of the way of the quick people. I see a guy coming behind me in the straightaway. So I move out to the side to take this turn and he just hits me like as hard as you can go. So I spin that way and hit this I go this way, that way. So I'm now, my face is closest to it. I'm like, concrete barrier. And I'm like, 10 seconds ago, I was rolling.
Yeah, I was cruising.
I was like, man, next race, And now I'm like, I'm like, this is going to be really, and it goes whack. And now I'm in the air and I'm sky ground. I'm like,
no way.
Yeah. And I was doing 20 mile an hour before that. And now I'm seeing sky ground. I'm like, dude, it's different when you skateboard slam and when you car slam. In a skateboard slam, I've done a couple, like in moto, I've seen sky ground a couple times. In skateboarding, you don't see sky ground. You never get that. You get more of a like, oh, and then you slam.
Yeah, where's the ground?
Yeah, I was like, sky ground. I'm like, I don't know how many times. 2, maybe 3, maybe 1. I don't know. I lost it. It was like, yeah. I don't know. And then whack on the ground. Big dust storm everywhere. And I'm like,
Are you off the track then?
Oh yeah, dude. I'll show you. I was 20 feet in the air.
No, I mean off the track.
Oh yeah, way off the track.
Way out.
I hit the K rail and landed like 30 feet away from the track. So I land on my wheels.
Oh.
So I'm like, poof, and it's clipped everywhere, and fire truck. You know what I mean? Because big crash.
Was the guy over here? Was the guy calling you? Finish the race, Ellis.
No, this guy. So this is the worst part about it. This guy is like, Jason, are you there? And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm good. Because he got a little button, and he goes, Jason, are you there? And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm good. Jason, for the love of Christ.
Oh,
I'm like, oh no. He thinks I'm out. So I'm trying to get the thing and trying to get all the 5-point harness, and I broke the roof a little bit, so I couldn't get out. And I finally get out on the and I get on the roof and start doing this to my guy, because I know that Katie is standing next to him. So now him and Katie think I'm dead.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
The whole crowd just thinks that I want to get on the roof and like, look what I have done. so the whole crowd's like, yeah. And I'm like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I totally meant it.
Just go with it.
Yeah. I just went with it. Man, hell of a crash. I'm like, yeah.
That's a good life lesson.
Yeah. I crashed like 5 more times after that.
No, I mean, the idea, like, I'm okay.
What was the life lesson?
I can't feel my legs. I can't feel my legs.
I really did like my spotter for that, though. I was like, holy shit, dude, you really like me. I appreciate that. That concern was like chilling to me. You made me get out of the car as quick as I could, because I felt like people in the pits. Because apparently someone said that I looked like I was unconscious, like through the front.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I don't know how. And so he's out. He's unconscious. And that goes up there, and it's like, oh my God, the worst has happened. But I wasn't at all. I had to reassure the medic guy. He's like, I'm pretty sure I saw you out. And I'm like, pretty sure I'm me. I was here the whole time. You don't want to go too far into my like my background, but when I'm out, I know I'm out.
Right.
I was like, shit, I crashed the whole time. Sky ground. Wham. I'm like, oh my God, that is, because you're surprised that a car can do all this
self-check
cool stuff for you, where you think,
oh, that it saves you. Yeah, that's
you
amazing.
Think that you've got to have a broken something.
Right.
You usually don't.
Technology is insane in that way.
Yeah, and this is just like crappy buggy side-by-side, like white trash dudes hooking your shit up. This is not like NASCAR where they have like, airbag helmets and
everything.
Wow,
Yep.
hopefully we've learned a lot about motorsports and skateboarding
I have
today.
to tell you, another time I'll tell you about my story of a mini tsunami that I thought took my son.
What?
It was crazy.
Wait, on vacation?
No.
Just do it.
Okay.
Can't do that to me.
The waves, this is, I don't even know, 15 years ago or something. The waves were huge.
In
San Diego? In San Diego.
Okay.
Like storm of the century type of thing.
Oh, shit.
But it was actually stormy too. So it was just wild at the beach.
Yeah.
Right. And the waves were coming in so big and fast that it made that sort of ledge on the sand, when it makes like a cliff
like
on
the wedge.
sand.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean like where it drops.
Yeah.
Not steep. I'm talking about like a drop from the sand down to a shelf.
Because you can't touch the ground.
Well, you can't.
Can't get back up? Can you crawl up?
We're not talking about going in the water. It was out of the question going in the water. We just went to go look.
Oh.
Because it was so crazy.
Okay.
No one's in the water. It's like victory at sea.
Wait, and your kid went in?
No. So I'm on the phone. I'll never forget because everyone's just curious. It was just a curiosity. Like, let's go look at the waves. It's crazy. And I'm on the phone doing a radio interview. Right? This is such an insane story. I'm doing a radio interview, and my kids are all getting up near the ledge where this sort of sand cliff is now, because the waves, the tide is like coming up. The waves are massive. And then my other son, Keegan, he was probably 3 or 4, is not near the ledge, but he's halfway between the parking lot and us, playing on a tree stump.
Okay.
Right? Because like debris has been moving into the area because the waves are so big, the swell was so big.
Yeah.
So he's on dry sand on this tree stump. And there's probably 100 yards from where we parked to where the shore is.
Yeah.
A lot of sand.
Yeah.
Right. This is on the Coast Highway, right where La Costa meets Coast Highway, just north of there, where it dips down.
Yeah.
And so I'm telling my kids, like Riley's there and Spencer, and I'm telling them, hey, you guys don't play on that, where the sand, because they're kind of messing around where the sand, they're letting the sand drop down a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't mess, we're like, not right there, okay?
Yeah.
Because these waves are they're unpredictable.
Right.
I see the set wave come in, and then another wave behind it doubles up and catches up to it. And when like waves double up,
Yeah.
double the power, obviously.
Yeah.
It crashes over the ridge and goes onto the sand and keeps going. It's not stopping.
It's a wave. Almost.
It's a wave that is going to wash all the way to the highway like a tsunami.
It's going to wash your kids onto the highway.
I start running. I'm
and you're in the middle
behind
of
the wave.
on a phone call.
I'm on the phone. I just dropped the phone, whatever. I start running and I'm behind the whitewash.
The water's already, you're in the water.
The water has passed me, and it's only a foot deep maybe.
Yeah.
But it's powerful.
Right.
And I'm running and I see this kid that I think is Keegan, because he's got the same color shirt, being rolled across the sand.
Oh my God.
Being rolled across the sand in front of me, and I can't reach him because it's like too fast. I finally dive and I catch him and I pick him up, and it's not Keegan.
It's somebody else's kid.
It's somebody else's kid.
Somebody's kid.
And I'm like, oh, and there's this moment as a father where you're like, oh, good, I
saved a kid, but not your kid.
Oh no. And then I look, and by the time I look down, the wave has cleared all the way over the highway. Traffic has stopped. The water has rolled all the way through the parking lot and washed out on the highway.
Where's Keegan?
I can't find him. He's been taken by this wave.
And you've got
I don't
a kid
know.
in your hands.
I got a kid. This dad he's like, oh, hey, it's Johnny. And I pass him off.
Okay.
And so I start screaming. I'm like, Keegan. And do you know where South Carlsbad State Beach is? It goes down a little bit and people park. There's those sort of railroad ties, and people park at the railroad ties, but it's kind of not a parking lot.
Yeah.
So it's
way away from the beach.
Way far away from the beach. The water rolled over that.
Holy shit.
And down.
What year? Has that ever happened?
No.
Because that's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, it was like perfect storm, perfect time. And then I'm like, Keegan. And I look over the parking lot and I see this other dad, hold up Keegan above all the cars, like, whose kid is this? And he's covered in sand.
He went in to get him.
What's that?
He had to dive to get him.
No, the water pushed him over the railroad ties into the parking lot between two cars. And so he basically just washed out.
He washed up.
Yeah,
he washed up.
Yeah.
In the parking lot.
And this father picked him up, and Keegan, who has always been just like the craziest kid, is just like kind of looking like annoyed that even happened. Just all sandy, wet. And this is like January, December. It's freezing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Keegan, are you okay? He's like, can we go in the hot tub?
Man, what? God, I want to be that guy. I want to be that guy.
Goes,
not scarred in any way.
He's like, the tsunami took me to the parking lot.
He called it a tsunami. Knew it. Immediately knew. Oh, man, I'm in a tsunami.
So here's, just to cap off the whole story, I realized, like, as we calm down,
God,
whatever,
dude.
where it's just like, okay, he's okay, it's okay, all kids are accounted for. That was crazy. Everyone's just like in shock.
Yeah.
And I pick up my phone, I think to call home or to call his mom or something.
Radio
I'm
people.
still on the radio.
They could hear it.
And I'm like, hello? And they're like, Tony? Like, are you guys still on the line? We heard it all.
The interview was on the air.
The interview was on the air, and they kept it going.
You were screaming Keegan.
Screaming Keegan. Just like, they could hear chaos.
And they just kept it.
Well, I don't think it wasn't a live interview.
Oh, okay.
But not that long ago, someone was like, hey man, I work at this radio station. There's a tape of you where there's
Freaking
this
out.
crazy thing happen, and I was like, that is insane that exists.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that. Like, you need to get rid of that. Well, I don't want to hear parents freaking out.
No, but that was so that's my tsunami story.
Man,
It was wild.
Yeah. Can't believe
To this day, whenever I go to that beach, I still look at how much sand is there and how it rises and then falls. And it's like, how did a wave get all the way through here? They closed the highway. They closed Pacific Coast Highway that day.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Did another wave go back up there like that day, or was that the only one?
I think that was the only one.
In the history.
But it flooded. I don't know in the history, but it flooded the highway. Just that one wave made it undrivable.
Yeah, because it's like a pocket right there, be underwater, right?
Yeah, crazy.
God, that's so crazy. San
That's my
Diego
story.
can do that. All right, there you go. We're here. We're alive.
Watch out for tsunamis.
We'll be back next week. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.